Okay, welcome back. Today we're reading, we're reading Genesis chapter 25, the King James and Message version in one video. And I'm just gonna start reading King James version, Genesis chapter 25. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. She bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Lumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanach, Abida, Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, but unto his sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. And these days are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost, and he died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephraim, the son of Zahor the Hittite, which is before Memrah. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well Laharai. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names, according to their generations: the firstborn of Ishmael, Neboljoth, and Kedar, and Adbil, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedama. These are the sons of Ishmael. These are their names by their towns, by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years old, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. The 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered are fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. His hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew. Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed porridge, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And she sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went on his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So that was Genesis chapter 25, King James Version. I'm sorry, I'm going to plug in my microphone because I did it. I don't even know if it's going to work at this point. I'm going to do it anyway. Sorry. I'm going to move on to Genesis chapter 25, the Message. Abraham married a second time. His new wife was named Keturah. She gave birth to Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan had Sheba and Dedan. Dedan descendants were the Ashurim, the Letushim, and the Lumim. Midian had Ephah, Epher, Hanach, Abida, and Eldah, all from the line of Keturah. But Abraham gave everything he possessed to Isaac while he was still living. He gave gifts to the sons he had by his concubines, but then sent them away to the country of the east, putting a good distance between them and his son Isaac. Abraham lived 175 years. Then he took his final breath. He died happy at a ripe old age, full of years, and was buried with his family. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephraim, son of Zahor the Hittite, next to Mamre. It was a field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites. Abraham was buried next to his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac. Isaac lived at Beer Lahai. This is the family tree of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's maid, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons and the order of their births. Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedema, all the sons of Ishmael. Their settlements and encampments were named after them. 12 princes with their 12 tribes. Ishmael lived 137 years. When he breathed his last breath and died, He was buried with his family. His children settled down all the way from Havilah near Egypt eastward to Shur in the direction of Assyria. The Ishmaelites didn't get along with any of their kin. This is the family tree of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham had Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Paddan Aram. She was the sister of Laban, the Aramean. Isaac prayed hard to God for his wife because she was barren. God answered his prayer, and Rebekah became pregnant. But the children tumbled and kicked inside her so much that she said, "If this is the way it's going to be, why go on living?" She went to God to find out what was going on. God told her, "2 nations are in your womb, 2 peoples, biting heads, while still in your body. The people will overpower the other. The older will serve the younger." When her time to give birth came, sure enough, there were twins in her womb. The first came out reddish, as if snugly wrapped in a hairy blanket. They named him Esau, hairy. His brother followed, his fist clutched tight to Esau's heel. They named him Jacob, heel. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. The boys grew up. Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman. Jacob was a quiet man preferring life indoors, among the tents. Isaac loved Esau because he loved his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. One day Jacob was cooking a stew. Esau came from the field starved. Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stew. I'm starved." Then, that's how he became to be called Edom, red. Jacob said, "Make me a trade, my stew for your rights as the firstborn." Esau said, "I'm starving. What good is a birthright if I'm dead?" Jacob said, "First, swear to me." And he did it. An oath. Esau traded away his rights as the firstborn. Jacob gave him bread and the stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, got up and left. That's how Esau shrugged off his birthrights as the firstborn. So, I'll try to keep this short because yesterday's video was almost an hour long. Abraham dies. You know, he's the one that started it off, Father Abraham. He passes away. Seems like at the end of his life, even though I mentioned in chapter 24 that he's definitely walking with God, he's just in full faith in God. And his wife, Sarah, has been dead. So he married a second time, this Keturah from verses 1. And he had a lot more children because, I mean, they didn't have fertility issues like Sarah did. So he had quite a few children from that second marriage. And it looks like he had some children by concubines as well. I don't really have much to say about that. But he died when he was 175 years old. And it looks like he was looking out for Isaac, which is the chosen child, the one that was from the promise of God, from the covenant of God. This is the one, the child that's going to be the part of this lineage that's going to make these blessings to the world. This special set apart people. It's coming through Isaac's lineage only. Looks like Ishmael joined during the funeral. So it's very interesting. I thought for a minute I've forgotten all about this, but it's a really good reminder that the last time that Abraham sees his son Ishmael is not when he is kind of sending him and his mother away into the wilderness with the water and the bread. So it's really cool to see that, or maybe it is, and Ishmael just comes back for this funeral. I don't know. But it's interesting that Ishmael does return into the story, and he does spend time with family in the difficult period, their father's death. And it's also funny, the parallel between Isaac and Ishmael, or just like I don't want to spoil it for people who've not read it yet, but most of you already know about the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's an extremely important number, extremely important lineage, the whole thing. These 12 sons. And it's just really interesting that even though Ishmael isn't the chosen one, he's the firstborn, and he was conceived in sin and all of this. It's not his fault. But despite all of that, it's just really interesting that in some interesting way, Ishmael still gets a little piece of the promise, or it just reigns true through him in some way that I find fascinating, because he himself has 12 princes. It's just interesting. He's also very prosperous. He's also, because he's of Abraham's seed, he's also going to be blessed. And he is, and very similarly in some ways. But he's not the one like Isaac is. So it states here that he died at 137 years old. And it also mentions somewhere in verse 18 that the Ishmaelites didn't get along with any of their kin, which it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure Ishmael and Hagar talked about how they were treated when they were with Abraham and Sarah. So, obviously there's some strife there. It was just a really bad situation there. So I kind of understand. Although, you're supposed to forgive. You're not supposed to let people treat you bad. But you're not supposed to hold on to the bad things or negative things that other people do either. There is a fine line to walk there with that. But it can be done. And it is difficult. So I kind of can understand why this whole situation turned out the way that it did here. Another thing that really stood out to me was Isaac and Rebecca trying to conceive. Again, it's so weird because Abraham and Sarah were barren. Now his son, Isaac and Rebecca, are barren and having trouble, like conception problems. It's very interesting that it's repeated itself. I don't know what the meaning behind that, but it definitely reigns true about something about, there's got to be really something special, at least I want to believe it, that there's something special about married couples who are trying to conceive and they can't. And I don't mean to, I'm not saying this to downplay any of that, because I understand everything about what that's like, believe me, but there seems to be something super special about it. Like almost as if God is saving a very special child, or just something very special about the child that is meant to come through you and your spouse. That's what it looks like to me. And here, Isaac, he just goes straight to God for this problem. And God heard his prayer. It's very interesting. And he answered his prayer. She got pregnant right away after the prayer. So it's just really interesting that, Isaac didn't even, it doesn't say anything else about okay, he found out that they were barren or having trouble conceiving. So he did all this other stuff, like how Abraham and Sarah did with Hagar and all that stuff. He didn't even do anything of the sort. Maybe he didn't do it because he experienced what his parents did, as the kid, in that household with Ishmael and stuff. Maybe because of that experience, he knew better. And he just decided to go straight to God for his issue. It doesn't mention him doing anything else. Right after the problem, he goes straight to God for the solution, and he gets his answer. And he conceives, and it turns out that they have children. And it's really, really, really interesting that they get to have kids. Twins, in fact. And they're fighting already in the womb, which is interesting. I guess it's a foreshadowing of how they're going to be once they're out of the womb. And so much that she's praying to God. She's also talking to God. I just love these two. Isaac and Rebecca, they kind of rock. Their story of getting together and getting married is pretty romantic and sweet. Just as I said in the last chapter, it's just their families have their back. They're walking in God. God is leading everything about them being together. And there was just nothing wrong with them getting together. They did it right. Their parents made sure that they did it right. And even here in the marriage where they're having trouble having kids, husband's going straight to God. And when she's pregnant, wife is going straight to God asking questions. I just love this. They just really have a really good marriage, a really good heart, soul, life styles. I mean, I'm sure they're not perfect. We're going to learn some things about them later. Already, it even shows some things about them favoring their children here. I'm going to say chapter 25, verses 27 and 28. The boys grew up. Esau became an expert hunter and outdoorsman. Jacob was a quiet man, preferring life indoors among the tents. Isaac loved Esau because he loved his game. But Rebecca loved Jacob. So they're playing favorites over silly things. Oh, I love this son because, you know, the animals you catch out there are pretty good. It's just, I don't know. For me, if I had children, I don't think I would play favorites. I think their uniqueness would require me to be there for them in different ways sometimes, you know, customize the way that I would be there for individuals with individual needs or unique needs to them. But to favor one over the other, no, I never understood that type of thing from parents. But here's an example of parents who do it. And it seemed to create a divide, for sure, a little bit in that household. But it was already foreshadowed in the womb when they were fighting. And it looks like God gave them a prophecy that, and it seems already becoming true, that the younger one would be served by the older one. And that kind of seems to be what's happening here. Even, where is it? Even at verse 26, his brother followed. His fists clutched tight Esau's heel. They named him Jacob. Like, he just wasn't even going to let his brother. He wasn't even going to let him out, you know. It's like, you know, wait for me, you know, not without me. It's just very interesting. And at the end, 33 and 34, Jacob said, first swear to me. We're going to go back, sorry. Verses 31, Jacob said, make me a trade, my stew, for your rights as the firstborn. It's just really interesting. He's already, you know, like grabbing, like, but it's just really interesting that he actually convinced him. And it's so weird. I wonder if Esau really took that deal seriously. I don't think he did. He was just probably like talking him off or whatever, but I mean, it's a lentil soup. Some red lentil hot pot with bread. You know, he's given away his whole blessing, his whole legacy of being, you know, the one. I mean, obviously, I suppose what's meant to happen is what happens. But I mean, here, him being the firstborn, he was the one with the rights, technically, to, you know, be that chosen lineage. And he gave up so much just for some old pot of stew. And it says that's how Esau shrugged off his rights as the firstborn. In the King James Version, it says, at the very end, verse 34, then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. It's a very interesting and confusing situation there, because I'm wondering, I mean, he must not have taken him seriously. For sure, he could not have. You'll see what I mean when I say this later on in another chapter that's coming quickly. But
even so, there was something that he did know, that there was something that was cemented there on that day. I mean, he must have been famished, really, but it just seems so strange that he was so famished. Like, he couldn't go to his house, he couldn't go to his parents or something. He had to have, I don't know, it just seems like such a crappy deal. Trading in such a gift for a pot of stew and bread. But I don't know, I digress. Whatever stands out to you, I'd love to hear it. And I really appreciate you guys studying with me. I just pointed out a few things that stood out to me in this reading. It's a good chapter. It's kind of sad though. Abraham is gone. Father Abraham. But Isaac is continuing on, and God's with him, and he's a man of God for sure. This person is a man of God. His wife is too, and yeah, they're human, so they're doing some human stuff here, favoring their children and whatnot. But for the most part, it just seems as though, and I believe that they are pretty good God-centered couple. A good example. They've got some really good examples to follow after, whether you're married or not. Just going to God for your issues, going to God for your problems right away, instead of trying to take matters into your own hands or just trying to solve the issue yourself, especially for some things that you don't know the answer. Like this, there's nothing you can do, and if you're barren and you're having trouble conceiving, it's just kind of like up in the air there. You can't really do much. I mean, you can go to a doctor and have, IVF and all of that, sure. But even so, I think you're still going to need God, whatever you decide to do. And it would be a good idea, even before pursuing that, to start talking to God about it and seeing what his answer is before you start making some choices and moves. And that's about anything, really. This is just a good example, I feel like. It's a really good instance of what one should do when they're in a pickle in life. And I'm starting to really put that sort of thing into practice as well. It's a little tricky, but I think the more that you practice that, the more that you practice going to God for things, the easier it gets. And it could just be as simple as you just sitting here like how I am right now and just talking to God about your issues and your problems and the things that you're facing. Even talking to him about good things, just being really grateful for everything that he's done. Like he's done so much for me. Just me waking up in the morning, just me having a roof over my head, food in my mouth, just people to talk to, people to hang out with that are God-fearing and just there for me, and me being able to be there for them. Just really good things. Just God being with me, being so good to me. It's just really insane. There's so many things to count your blessings, and I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop. I'm actually starting to feel a little better. And you can see my energy's definitely more than it was yesterday, so I'm praying that it continues to increase, and I really appreciate you guys reading along with me. Tomorrow we're going to read chapter 26. I might not read chapter 26 tomorrow, sorry, it's the Shabbat, but I still might jump on and read this chapter anyway. Because the Shabbat is about rest, but it is also about God and just really focusing on God and his word and concentrating and spending time with him. And I would love to spend time with him and you guys, if that's possible, if you want to show up tomorrow, that is. So I just appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm going to ask that you like this video or share it with others that is looking for a daily Bible reading. It just kind of helps if you thumb it up or comment, just to make it easier for people to find these one chapter a day readings, because it's good. You should read the Bible every day if you're seeking God. And I can't tell you what to read, but I will tell you just reading his word every day, not just like the verse of the day, if you can get past that, because I've done that You know, like I've done that. But if you really want to be spiritually fed, I think it's a really good idea to put into practice reading the Bible every day. Like if not a chapter every day, then part of one or something, or some kind of Bible study plan. It just really keeps things into a large perspective, the big picture, and just kind of keeps you grounded in God in your day. It just cultivates good habits as well, like just in your journey in this valley of the shadow of death that we call life here on this planet Earth. So I thank you once again, and I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Shabbat Shalom, because it's nearly evening, the sun's still out, but in a couple of hours it'll be dark, and it's just going to be all about God, and I'm looking forward to really honoring this Shabbat, and I pray that you guys do as well. Thanks for watching, and I love you guys. God bless you guys, and yeah, that's all there is to it. You guys take care. I'll see you next time in chapter 26.